Welcome to Community Connections, a local news magazine that highlights the activities, people, conversations, and events that mean most to you in Southwood County. This November 2013 edition is focused on manufacturing. Phil Hartley from the Chamber of Commerce recaps the recent heavy metal bus tour where students learn the importance of manufacturing from state representatives. Following, Wood County Board Chairman Lance Pliml and Wisconsin Rapids Mayor Zach Vruwink together share their insights on manufacturing. So please enjoy and thank you for joining us on our 8th episode. Well, Phil, the heavy metal bus tour rolled into town here earlier this month. Tell us about what happened on that tour with the students.
Sure, Tom. This is our 3rd heavy metal bus tour, so it's been growing stronger and stronger every time we do it. But what we do is we take a whole bunch of students from our area, there's over 70 this time, from every different school district. Assumption, Emmanuel, East Junior High, Nakusa, and Port Edwards, all students involved, somewhere between 8th and 10th grade usually. And we take them out and give them a little talk and a tour of some of our local manufacturers, some of them that they probably don't even know that are there, that are growing and existing and doing really well, and who are looking for young people to come back and work there.
Well, I think there was a highlight to the day at Mid-State Technical College. Governor Walker came by to give a speech.
Yeah, that's kind of a funny story. The first two, Lieutenant Governor Rebecca Clayfish has actually come on part of the tour and spoke to the students at noon. Well, this time I get a call about a month before the event saying, sorry, Phil, Lieutenant Governor can't come. And I said, oh boy, and that's too bad. It's a great part of the day for those kids because she's really a great speaker and very charismatic and enthusiastic. And what was funny is maybe a day later, I had a call from the governor's office, the governor wants to come. So, okay, there's a trade. So, okay, we can handle that. So Governor Walker was coming, which is obviously a great benefit to the whole thing, and he did a great speech. And what was funny is about a week later, after the Lieutenant Governor said she couldn't come, they called back and said, she can come too, they're both coming. So again, a win-win, but he did a great job relating to the students. She always does as well. So I thought it was a great highlight for the students, a great benefit, a win really for the tour, for Mid-State as well, for him to be there, and for the students. Well,
the students had a chance to tour a lot of great area businesses here throughout Southwood County. Domtar was one of the highlights.
Yeah.
And I listened to Mark Bassett talk about the plant. And what did the kids get to see there?
Oh, wow, he does a great job, Tom. He's a great speaker. He takes them in first into a big conference room, about 80, 90 people in there at that time, and tells them a little bit about the plant, but he also tells them what he looks for in a worker, which is a great discussion he has, because he said, yeah, degree is fine, the background is good in manufacturing if you have some, but here's what I'm looking for, work ethic. Here's what I'm looking for, honesty, somebody that will learn. And he really grills that into the students and does some great examples about, he uses an example of mowing a lawn. If your father asks you to mow a lawn, do you say, here I go, or do you say, well, Betsy could do it, or John could do it, or do you do it without him even asking? And he said, I want that person that does it without asking, because that's the employee that I know is going to go out and look for work without having to be told what to do. So he goes into that work ethic part, which probably a lot of the students didn't think they were going to get as part of this day, but he really lets them know that's what he looks for. And they get a great tour of the facility. Since Mark's come in there, he's done a lot of work on the plan of brightening it up, cleaning it up. One great story he tells is the day he rode into town, their front reader board was broken. The one they always, if you ride by there, it has messages on it every day. And he walked in and said, why is that not working? And they said, well, no reason, just haven't. He said, that's fixed tomorrow. And it was. Because he knows that he wants to make Domtar a great place to work. And it's not if those little things, if it's dark and dangerous and dirty. That's the old, maybe the old philosophy of what people think about manufacturing. It's not anymore, and he does a great job showing that to the students of working there is going to be a great job. Overall, manufacturing in this area, it's a great job, and they're looking for young people to come in and help. Mark tells a story of a silver tsunami, he calls it, because if you go out on his floor, it's all gray-haired people. And he said, within 5, 6, 7 years, I'm going to lose half my workforce here. I need these young people to have some of these skills to come in and take their place, and these are good jobs.
And he talks about the pay, starting out well into the $50,000 range.
Oh yeah, in Wisconsin alone, and Lieutenant Governor Rebecca talked about this as well. well up over 50,000 average starting wage in manufacturing, or outside of manufacturing, the starting wage in Wisconsin is just over 40,000. So well over a $10,000 gap starting in manufacturing versus any other job, and the benefits usually are far greater too, as the insurance, the retirement. That's not counting in that money. Are far greater than a normal non-manufacturing job as well.
Yeah, there's some great businesses here for the students to get involved, and we have Mid-State Technical College here to get those students prepared, and it's even being prepared in local high schools, I believe.
Oh, you bet. There's been a lot of work lately, especially, and we know this is coming, this what we call a skills gap, where some of these students aren't knowing about these manufacturers, and getting a 4-year degree is great, and going out to the field you want. But we want the students to know getting a 2-year degree, and we have a gem in Mid-State Technical College, as you know, Tom, that's in this community, and they've been working hard with the Chamber, with the Community Foundation, and a lot of other community partners from all over the different municipalities to make sure their programs are tailored around what these manufacturers are looking for, so these students are ready when they come out of Mid-State to go into one of these jobs. It's been a great win for the manufacturers who are doing a lot of work with Mid-State, but also for Mid-State, obviously, to get those programs up and going. So they're very needed in this community, and they are.
Well, you're the business development director at the Chamber. How does that work with manufacturing? How you have a chance to work with these students, work with a lot of community leaders. How has that been working for you? How does the Chamber fit in to this process?
You bet, Tom. It's the many hats I wear at the Chamber, but I'm able to see manufacturing from the beginning. Part of my job is to help people get started in business, to give them the people they need to talk to get their business plans going, to get them contacts in accounting, lawyers, any other field that they need to help their first business succeed and to get them going. So that's one part of manufacturing. There's some, and it's really been good lately. We've had a lot of people looking to come in and start small businesses, and some of them are manufacturing, and so we're helping them. I also am a part of a business retention and expansion team that goes around to manufacturers, which includes me, Rick Murden from the Encourage Community Foundation, a lot of times Adam Tagan from the city, and other municipal leaders and outside parties too. But we go into the manufacturers and really spend some time with them and drill down on what's working for them, what are they looking to do in the future, what's lacking in the community, how can the municipality help more, or is there something holding them back from expanding? What is it? Is there something in this community that would help you if it was here to do more business? And that gives us a good lead on where to focus what should be in this community that's not. Because if we get a couple different manufacturers saying, boy, I wish XYZ was here, we wouldn't have to use somebody in Illinois for this. Well, if we can hear that, then it gives us a focal point to, if manufacturers are looking to come here, we can say, boy, let's talk to these companies because they need you. And so that's been, these visits have been really an eye-opener for me. I'm still learning every day from these manufacturers, but it gives you the contact to say, boy, do you know this person's doing this? You two could do some business here. And we've done that several times where this person doesn't even know this other person exists, and they're across town, and they could be helping each other out. And that's helped grow some of the manufacturing in our area.
Well, it really drives the local too. Instead of going out to another neighboring state, if it's done right here, way better. And do we have the land here for development?
Yeah, that's a good question, Tom. There's been in the news lately about the sites committee has been out in the states, been certifying the East Side Industrial Park, some land out there, and that's a great win for our community if that happens. It's looking good. The mayor and Adam Tagan have done some great work on that, as well as his staff. What that happens with that is if that site gets certified by the state, that's telling manufacturers that might come here, that land is ready, everything's out to it, no worries, it's all been looked at, and so that's a great win for the community, because and it looks like that's going to happen. So, but there's also still available buildings that are in the west, even in the West Side Industrial Park, that are available that we've had people looking at. There's been some tires being kicked lately, Tom, happy to say, tires that we haven't seen kicked for several years. For lack of a better metaphor, and that's great news for the community if some of these things happen. Some people are looking at projects, even some outside people are looking at projects as well in the community that we haven't had the activity we've had lately for quite a while. So hopefully some good news coming.
Well, I know a lot of businesses start off with maybe 1 or 2 people, and that's really a focus of the chamber, I believe.
Oh, you bet.
Small businesses really can turn into big businesses. We have it here. Right here is Renaissance is a prime example.
And that's an example I give out to people all the time, including the students on the heavy metal bus tour. You have an idea, and we welcome, of course, young entrepreneurship, like our mayor, right? Started at 15, and now he's recognized worldwide for what he did. But yeah, if we can get local companies to start up like the Pauls did with Renaissance, like the Meads did with the paper company, right, way back when. It starts small, but there's definitely a manufacturing infrastructure in this community. There's people like the chamber that are willing to help you and give you the contacts that you need to get growing, and we can make manufacturing happen here. We're good at it. That's what we know.
Right.
From the cranberry industry to the paper industry to many others. And there are several small businesses that are growing in this community that probably no one knows about. We hear when there's big job losses, but we don't hear when there's a company that expands by 5, by 10. And those are huge stories, and they're getting bigger. And we just visited a company a couple weeks ago called CNS Sales, and they've grown by about 15 employees in the last 5 months. Good paying jobs in the manufacturing area, and they're doing an awesome job there. But they probably don't get the headlines like some companies do. But those companies are here, and yeah, very proud to try to help them grow.
Yeah, and when those people come here, it drives young adults and families to come here as well. It spends money in our community, everything grows. So
yeah, and that's the deal. Can we bring the money in and get it here? That's one of our focuses.
And we have the area, we have the tools, the technologies here, the people in place. The city has the infrastructure here, and a lot of the other local communities are doing as well.
You bet. We just visited Solaris on one of those business retention and expansion visits just a few weeks ago. And they want the world to know that we have an infrastructure here, technology-wise, that very few in the world have. I mean, they compared it to Madison even. Madison doesn't have the technology infrastructure that Solaris has laid in place for companies to come in here and be able to use. It's just amazing.
Right.
And then we need to keep pounding that out, that this is a great place. And believe me, when companies call in, we do. We tell them about that, and of course the developments of the wastewater, the expansion there, and the electrical infrastructure has been upgraded as well. And I'm sure there'll still always be work to do. But I tell you what, we're in good place for that. And location-wise too, Tom, rail next to the highway here. I mean, we get the 4-lane going off of 54 up to 39. Get our own airport that a lot of people fly, and people probably don't know how well that's used. It could be used even more, and of course Mosinee is not that far away too.
Right.
But we're set up infrastructure-wise too, Tom. You're absolutely right, and I see good things coming. I do. So we just got to keep working hard at it.
Yeah, as long as our economy holds out and keeps growing, I think this community will continue to prosper.
Yeah, you bet. And I really want to thank all the people that lead the infrastructure, like you talked about in this community. Jim Neitzel, the wastewater, We Energies, great people to work with. Mike Arendt over there, and the city staff, dedicated. I work with Adam all the time, but Sue and Sushel and Tim DeSorsi, a great bunch of people. The people the mayor has over there, as well as our mayor. They're very aggressive. They're really working hard, and I see it every day. So can't say enough about them too.
Alrighty, well thanks Phil for coming by. I appreciate that.
Oh, my pleasure, Tom. Anytime.
And stay tuned. We're going to have the mayor talk about manufacturing, as well as Lance Pliml, the Wood County Board Chairman. So we'll be right back after this message.
2 outs with a runner on first base. Now the big guy comes up to bat, hitting .342 with 92 RBIs and 36 homers. First pitch is fouled to the back.
Chill raw and prepared foods promptly. 1 in 6 Americans will get sick from food poisoning this year. Keep your family safer. Check your steps at foodsafety.gov.
Well, I want to thank both of you for joining me here today on Community Connections and talking about manufacturing in our area. Mayor Vruwink, how does manufacturing play an important role in boosting the local economy?
Well, Tom, manufacturing is the lifeblood of the community. For 100 years, we made paper, and that was the single lifeblood provider, the largest single lifeblood provider of strong economy here in the southern Wood County area. So I think, just based on our history, where our roots are, that manufacturing is a critical role, but it also plays a great role for our future in the sense that it provides some family-sustaining wages that people are able to buy a home and realize the American dream. So, while we've had some challenges with manufacturing in recent years, manufacturing is alive and well in the community, and I think we have much promise to the future with relationship to manufacturing.
Alrighty, well, thank you for that. As County Board Chairman, Lance, do you see a collaboration amongst all the municipalities when it comes to attracting local manufacturers?
Oh, absolutely, Tom. That has to happen. We have a regional economy now. The mayor and I have had several conversations, not only Mayor Vruwink here, but Mayor Meyer up in Marshfield and everywhere in between. But those collaborations have to exist. Those imaginary, or they're not imaginary, but those lines that once existed between communities, need to be erased. And that collaboration has to occur. From things such as telecommunications right through one of the things that they're dealing with in the city right now, which is wastewater treatment and how that crosses boundaries. So there's an absolute need to collaborate, to cooperate, and to have those meetings ahead of time so businesses know what to expect when they come to an area.
So working together, not just with municipalities, but even giving each other a call, we're being on the same page is really important, and listening to each other is really what's important. Is that correct?
Yes. Zach and I don't speak every day, or the mayor and I don't speak every day, but when there's an important issue, certainly both very comfortable picking up the phone and speaking with the other one. Those lines of communication have to stay open, and if they don't, you don't have a real bright future ahead of you.
Well, we know that education is very important in the manufacturing area. We have to teach the students how to do things here that we do here in central Wisconsin. Mayor, do you feel our schools here, even the high school level and up to the mid-state area, do they adequately prepare our students in the careers that we're looking for in this area?
Well, Tom, increasingly so. As we saw most recently with the heavy metal bus tour, it was a great opportunity for students to get out of the walls of the schoolhouse and be able to experience manufacturing firsthand. And for them to experience manufacturing in the sense that there's a perception that manufacturing jobs are dead and gone, that are a thing of the past, but not everywhere, and that's not the case, especially in this community where we have a lot of significant manufacturing employment that still exists. So I think increasingly so with STEM jobs and with STEM education, there's so much more to be had that the educational system is starting to align themselves with the needs and the desires of the private sector, that once students graduate from high school and if they're going to pursue a job or pursue technical or university education, that they're being equipped at the educational level that once they get out, they're able to pursue those careers.
Well, definitely there's a lot of career opportunities here in central Wisconsin. The students on that heavy metal bus tour had a chance to tour the Domtar mill as well as many other areas here in our community as well as neighboring communities. So Mark Bissett had a chance to talk to the students. There's wages of well into that $50,000 starting off, so that's a great wage to start off here in manufacturing, and no better to stay home here, stay in your area and not leave. And you have Mid-State Technical College here as well to help with that. So let's take a moment here and hear from State Representative Scott Krug of the 72nd Assembly, and he can talk about the importance of offering students the skills in manufacturing.
One of the things we've been working on just these last couple of weeks here is we got a bunch of jobs bills coming through that we've worked with the governor's office on. One of them I'm the author of is to make sure that we have more technical scholarships for students. If you're going through technical programs or have interest in trade programs or some of the things you're seeing here today or with some of the employers, we want to make sure that you have the opportunity to be able to afford to come to school here or to go to another of the tech college system schools. It's always an important thing to make sure that you have as many options as you possibly can for your education, and that's something that we're going to keep working on all session long. Started a little bit of that work last session in making sure that we helped our public school systems create technical college or technical programs within their K through 12 system to make sure that you have the opportunity to have some hands-on experience as you're going through high school, so that when you get to the tech college system, you've had some chances to do some of the things you're looking at getting into. So I just want to keep it real brief. I know you have a lot of speakers here, and I know we're going to get out to talk some more out at Mariani. I'm going to go with you to that tour today. Took a part of this tour last year to see some of the manufacturers that I haven't even seen. And I think that's the biggest message to take away from today, is that just because you haven't always seen these things in your community, you got to keep taking advantage of the tours that you're on like today. Make sure that you're listening to the folks at your schools about getting out and meeting some of the other employers in the area. It's nice that you can get out and actually see some of the stuff that you have an opportunity to stick around and be involved with as you get older.
Mayor, what is the city of Wisconsin Rapids doing to attract manufacturing companies like Domtar or some of the new companies that have come in? Ocean Spray in the past few years has really grown. How do you attract companies to the area to come here?
Well, I think, Tom, we have to understand that the Cavalier is not coming, that we're not waiting for a significant single large employer to carry us forward and provide economic prosperity like once was. So we're looking for those small manufacturers, those small firms that have promise, especially those that provide family-sustaining wages. And I would say in particularly, so we're looking for companies that align with our assets, our infrastructure assets. So as the chairman talked about, it's wastewater, it's telecommunications, it's water, it's power, all of those infrastructure assets that we possess that really will position us to be able to be successful in landing a company of any size, really.
Correct, and we have the land here, not just in the city of Wisconsin Rapids, but in the county, and the infrastructure is placed here. We have a treatment plant that's ready to go, and Ocean Spray uses a lot of that stuff now. We have a water, electric, you name it. So to get those people here, how do you educate them that we have it? How do you do that?
Well, part of it's understanding that business parks are kind of a thing of the past in the sense that if you had a business park, well, everyone has a business park. So you have to really look at what goes beyond the business park in terms of utilities. We talked about infrastructure, but it's also workforce. What does our workforce skills look like when a company is looking for a location to land? I think we possess a very hardworking, the Midwestern work ethic, so that's certainly a strength of ours here in this community, but also we've been through a lot. And so we recognize that the next company that does come up to our doorstep, we have to be very ready for whatever they're going to offer us. So asking the right questions and also incentivizing them, that if they're going to create family-sustaining wages, we maybe have some incentives in mind for them. If they're not going to create family-sustaining wages, well, there isn't so much that public funds can do to incentivize their decision to be here.
And I think it really comes down back to education. If we're educating the students to come and get a career here, and the companies will stay if those people are available here to work and do what they want. I think it really is going that route. And I think we could hear right here from Mark Bissett, a general manager of the Domtar mill in Nakusa. He's going to explain what he looks for in an employee when they search for skilled workers. So why don't we hear from Mark?
Okay, but work ethic is actually taking the initiative on your own, knowing what work has to be done, not looking at whether you like it or not, but getting it done. Okay? Attitude. Why is attitude important?
Get along with the people you work with.
Yeah, it's a good attitude, right? No one likes to hang around a grumpy person. Right? Do you? You know grumpy people? You like hanging with them? No. If you've got people with good attitude, right? Get along with them, right? More fun to be around. We're here 8 hours, 10 hours, 12 hours a day. It's nice to be around happy people, right? So now we want a person that is willing to do their share and do it without grumbling, right? So that's pretty much work ethic and attitude. We've got all those kinds of people. We're really going to do some good things in this mill. Last thing is knowledge, right? And really what you're learning in high school, is this junior high school? Junior high school?
Yes.
Little both, junior high school, high school? Okay, what you're learning in junior high school and high school is to learn, right? Because when you come to us, and actually when you go to college, same thing. You learn to learn, okay? Which means when you come to us, we're going to teach you a bunch of things, but you need to have those basics, okay? You need to have the ability to do math, okay? To do a little bit of engineering and science, physics, some chemistry, okay? And those technical things. Because it's all about, when we make paper, it is a science, believe it or not. It's not just throwing fiber. And I wish I had some samples, but we have a little bit. We chip up some wood, and we put water with it. We make some pulp. We ship it off to our paper machines, which you're going to see out there. And we make all kinds of different products, whether it's Post-it notes or pads, different colors that you use in schools, labels, food packaging. Everybody knows this, right? Food packaging, all right? So that's why we need good people. And we've got chemical engineers, which practically line the back of the room. We've got mechanical engineers, we've got electrical engineers, we've got environmental engineers, and we've got a lot of other people in the room or in the mill that have some really good math, science, technical behind them.
Chairman, what is currently being done by the county to keep current companies here in our region? So the companies that we have now, like Ocean Spray, how do you keep them progressing and not move out of the area?
Well, the mayor touched on this a little bit, and we have to go back to what is really the role of government. And as we boil it down, and we can't create jobs, we can't create industry, and we certainly can't drag them here. But we can provide the infrastructure, we can provide the educated workforce so that they want to come here. We're not so much competing with other towns, counties, villages in the area. We're competing with South Carolina, Texas, Georgia, all of those places that provide those types of infrastructure qualities. So we have to be ready to pursue those. The other thing we have to do is adapt very rapidly from an educational standpoint, and I'll touch on that with Mid-State. We have the ability to develop programs to meet the needs of those employers, and it's been a tremendous asset in keeping some of those companies here. We have really diverse economic picture within Wood County. Wisconsin Rapids, down in our corner of the county down here, has been, a very heavy manufacturing county. We go to the central part of the county and very heavy in agriculture, where we're the #1 producer of cranberries in the world. And then we go up to the huge medical facility up in the northwest corner of the county. So for us, we have to approach it from a lot of areas, but education and infrastructure are the two things that can probably be publicly funded that help, bring those companies in, to drive them to come our direction. But those old days of handing things out to companies to get them to come, that carrot and stick approach, everybody's doing it. And at the end of the day, if the sum isn't a positive number because you gave away the farm, so to speak, it really is an economic development. So it's our job and our role to be able to answer those questions, to have a single entry point, to make that very easy access to our area, and then to provide those skilled workers and infrastructure.
And those strategies don't produce wins for anybody. Really, at the end of it, it's public funds against other public funds, and they're all public funds. And so it's a hard strategy to have any success with.
Well, when a new company is looking to move here, what do they do? Do they call one of you two? I think our viewers would like to know what the process is. They know a little bit about our area, but you just can't build a building here. You just can't go ahead. What do you need to do, Mayor, on the city side if some company wants to come here and build?
Well, there's a lot of entry points in the community. One of the common ways is through our general aviation airport, the Alexander Field, which is supported by all the municipalities in the Wisconsin Rapids area. So that's one of the entry points. Oftentimes they show up in their plane, they check out the community, they have their first impressions, they drive around the community and say, is this a place where we can see our business locating? And then they say, well, what are our employees going to do when they're not at work? So is this a place where young families want to live, where our workers want to recreate and have that entertainment offering? So that's the second piece, is when the prospect is in town. The other mode of entry really is through site selection. We deal with the global site selectors looking at sites across the world when they're dealing with the company, and they do a lot of the vetting for the company. For a case in point, a company we're working with right now, we don't know who they are, but they're looking at what are the available infrastructure beyond land and workforce and all that sort of thing. So they do the work and the kind of the community hunting for them. The Chamber of Commerce, another partner that we deal with in economic development, also does have some entry point for the smaller and the more localized firms. And then the other piece is just around partnerships. It's partnering with, for example, the most recent initiative is REGI, the Regional Economic Growth Initiative, where municipalities across political boundaries are now coming together to realize that it isn't necessarily what municipality they land in. As long as it lands in our region, we have so much more to gain. And I think because we've moved beyond the political arguments of the territory wars, if you will, that where the industrial park that they might open in or any other available land, I think is a real tremendous benefit and an asset that our region has realized that other parts of the country have not.
When we're thinking of region, now are we thinking the Southwood County, or even if someone was to move into the Stevens Point area, how does that help our area as well? If they decide to move there versus here, is there still a growth, a help for the Wisconsin Rapids area?
There are tremendous benefits. So, for example, the Skyward announcement recently, that is a huge benefit to the greater central Wisconsin area. I mean, they already draw workers that are residents really of the city of Wisconsin Rapids, town of Grand Rapids, and others. Those individuals, doesn't matter necessarily, the commuting patterns now are so much greater than what they were many years ago. So I think those announcements, I was present at the Skyward announcement because I really felt that a unified message of the region to support those employers is very important. You'll see an announcement really in Stevens Point or Wausau, anywhere. Those people will obviously live and reside in not just the community or the businesses, but in the broader region.
And I think you hear
yeah,
that.
and those inquiries too come from all over, and you never know when they're going to come or where they're going to come from. Typically they start with those economic development parts of the government, whether it be the Heart down here or comparable organizations up in Marshfield. But they even come from just conversations with other business leaders in the community, and that's why when we're out talking to people in the community, we say every day put your best foot forward. You never know who it is, you never know where it's coming from, and it's not going to be that huge single manufacturer that comes in to drive the economy. It's going to be smaller businesses that come here and develop over time. And Mayor Vruwink was right on. Most people don't realize one of the things that they're looking at foremost is quality of life. When you talk to people today, it amazes me. They want to know, where the skateboard park is, where the pool is, where the walking, hiking, biking trails are. It all comes to quality of life because they're looking at those other places like San Antonio or Charleston, all those types of places that have other amenities. And we need to have that provided, to help those companies make those decisions to bring their families here. Because it isn't just the employee. It's the entire family. It's what's my wife going to do while I'm at work if she doesn't work? Where are the kids going to go to school? Where are they going to play? How are they going to be raised? So inquiries come from all over. They come into us from various directions. And the one thing we can do as the public, it sounds so simple, but it's smile, shake hands, and be accommodating when people come to town. Because you never know what guy owns a company somewhere that might be looking at relocating to our area.
And I think that really gets back to the state of the city, young adults and families. That was part of what you talk about, and you talk about every day, quite a bit every day, the importance of having young adults and families here because the employers are looking for that.
That's right, that pipeline of future residents, existing residents, making sure that they have the skills that are adequate for the jobs of the future. But as Lance mentioned, if you don't have a quality of life where people want to live and you're not competitive, you will not attract business. And so I think traditionally we look at economic development again as the business park, as the wastewater treatment plant, etc. But it's far more than that today. And I think municipalities that have been successful have realized you build on your assets. So we have a great river, right through the center of the city, and for us to not capitalize on it and utilize that to the best of our ability is just going to put us behind the eight ball, really, in terms of competitiveness. And I think we're now realizing that all the decision makers, beyond us two, in terms of the executive levels that we hold, there's legislative individuals, whether the county board or the city council, that recognize that there's more investment in our parks and the items that Lance had mentioned that really play a role in economic development.
Yeah, definitely recreation is one of the area's strengths that we have. It's a great asset that we have here, and we need to use it. We have the Four Seasons too as well. We're not like down in Florida or some other area that doesn't have what we have, so we can really capitalize on that.
And it's just that asset. We don't have warm weather all year, so you're not going to attract the person who wants that. But if you want 4 seasons of fun, or if you want the water resource, the river here or the lakes in the area, if you like a little bit of a rural feel to where you want to have your manufacturing facility, we have all that right here. So we have the natural resource. We've had the human component to that. We've had the ability to educate those people, and I think that's why we are attractive to employers. And we just have to constantly put our best foot forward and be out there in front of those possibilities.
Well, Lance, manufacturing, as we know, is huge in Wisconsin. We've been talking about it. What would you like to see locate here in the area?
The answer is anything. Any business that at the end of the day, when you take the sum of all the parts, the cost that it takes to drive the infrastructure necessary for them. But when you add all those things up that they bring to the area, you take out the cost that you have in development. If the number is even one extra job, that's good development. If it's positive in any nature, if the sum of those numbers is greater than 0, it's good development. I think most people look at, high tech is one of the things they talk about all the time, but we are really strong in some areas right now, fabrication, welding, machining, and we have those programs at our tech schools. We are so lucky right down here in our area to have Mid-State Tech. I mean, they are in our backyard. And they adapt extremely rapidly to provide those educational programs to drive those businesses. So, any and all of the above. But we certainly can build on those things that we already have. The cranberry industry has been huge for us, the agricultural industry. The paper industry somewhat stabilized over the last few years. Healthcare's been big in the area. But we're willing to take on, any and all comers.
Well, I'm going to ask you, Mayor, the same question. What would you like to see here move in our area?
Well, in a similar respect to Lance, we'll take any opportunity. We'll evaluate it when it comes. But really, for us, is an employer that will pay family-sustaining wages. We recognize that an employer that's going to pay people that are going to be on social services throughout the rest of their employment is a non-good, is not a good fit for us here. We also need to leverage what is our best assets. Right? We talk about infrastructure. We all make investments, whether it's the municipality or the businesses that are currently using some of the infrastructure assets. The more users we can bring online is the tide that lifts all boats. And so I think if we can find a manufacturer or some company that presents some promise, again, isn't the single large employer anymore, small firms, a handful of small firms that can complement each other, and really that's the opportunity. You take a look at every business in the community that all have supply chains, that all need services and goods from some other organization or some other business. So to co-locate them together is a great strategy, and there's no reason why we shouldn't be pursuing that.
Well, we lucked out a lot with Renaissance. I don't know that's going to happen every time, but that's how it starts. It could be a one person in their basement.
An
The way it
entrepreneur out
goes.
of the basement. Yeah.
You did it yourself, Mayor, at 15. Started your own business. So
That's right.
It can happen. It happens all around the country. So we hope that happens. But again, 1 to 2 people businesses, no matter what, can grow into something much larger.
That's exactly it. It's somebody with an idea. I happen to be in Madison the last couple of days, and I know the mayor gets down there probably fairly often. But you look at companies like Epic and how they've grown in the Verona area. I mean, that started in a basement. The American Girls Doll Company, started in a basement. Some of the companies that we have here really started in somebody's garage, and those are the opportunities we're looking at. Like I said, it's highly unlikely that you locate a brand new, car manufacturing or automobile manufacturing plant here and employ 5,000 people out of the box. It's those small employers that have high-tech manufacturing that start with 5, 10, 15, and pretty soon have 25. And then, as the mayor alluded to, the supply chain part of that, where there's other businesses that will coexist very well with those and provide those other services. And that's where we're going to see growth.
Alrighty, well, I want to thank both of you for being my guest here on Community Connections. Really appreciate it. And we're going to leave you with a message from Lieutenant Governor Rebecca Clayfish on the opportunities young adults right here have as they pursue an education in manufacturing. So let's hear from Rebecca.
This whole month, actually, we're dedicating to manufacturing because it's a really special industry in Wisconsin. We have more manufacturers per person in our state than any other state in the country. We're number one right here. I mean, you guys are sitting in the lunchroom in the state that is number one in manufacturing in the entire country. Do you know that in Wisconsin, the average worker in manufacturing makes $52,000 a year. That's about $10,000 a year more than the average worker in the entire state makes. So if you choose manufacturing, if you choose making things for a living, you're going to start out with a really nice advantage in this great state that has more manufacturers than anybody else because you're going to be making a really decent wage. And here's another thing. Did you know that between 54 and 72% of new jobs in America in the next 10 years are going to require something more than your high school education, but less than a 4-year college degree? Now consider one more number for me. $32,500. $32,500 is the average student loan debt for a graduate in 2013. That's a lot of money to pay back. Now consider the opportunities that you have right here at MSTC if you become one of that 54 to 72% of folks who choose a career in manufacturing.
That wraps up the November 2013 edition of Community Connections. If you know about an interesting topic or person you feel should be mentioned in a future episode, please contact RCCA at 715-423-0441 or send an email to tlaux@wirapids.org. By getting involved with RCCA, you'll be helping the Wisconsin Rapids community in promotion and getting the word out about the many great topics and events in the area. To learn more, visit rccamedia.org. Thank you for watching.